one very powerful, safe, and effective um, death simulation available to us. Is the best model of death we have today. And it is not meditation. It is not 30 years of prayer in a Himalayan cave. Uh, if you have 15 minutes of time, you can have it. And that is the psychedelic experience. And I don't say that because it's far out or mind-boggling. No, I say that because what it does to your brain is exactly what's going to happen in the earlier stages of the dying process. Psychedelics massively reduce brain activity. They don't light up your brain like a Christmas tree, which was what we thought until 2012. For the past 9 years, we have known, and now these experiments have been repeated countless times. And so now it's secure knowledge. Psychedelics massively reduce brain activity, particularly in a brain process that we call the default mode network. It's the part of your brain that is engaged when you're not active with with a task. So you're not writing, you're not doing your work, you're not gardening, you're not talking to your spouse. You're just lying down at night in bed, waiting to sleep. If they would measure your brain activity at that point, it's the default mode network that is lit up. And the default mode network is tightly linked to the Freudian and Jungian ego. It's the part of our brain activity that engages in the narrative of the personal self. I am this person, I was born that day, I have this profession, I have this many kids, I'm married to that person. All this narrative of self, it's correlated with the brain activity that we measure in the default mode network. And that's exactly what psychedelics devastate. They annihilate brain activity in the default mode network. So it's a fantastic physiological model of death. Now, subjectively, it's a very hard experience because you just ask any psychonaut with enough experience, high enough doses, having done it frequently enough, and they will tell you that the experience, and it's called ego dissolution in that community. That's what they call it, ego dissolution. When you're undergoing that for the first time, you are absolutely sure you are dying. And you will be dead, and there is no return from that, because that's how it feels when the narrative of the personal self is taken apart. You experience that as the death of the individual self, your personal self, which is exactly what's happening. But you are not the personal self. You are that thing that is experiencing the death of the personal self. You are the mind that wakes up from the dream and when you wake up in the morning. But you're so convinced that you are the narrative of the default mode network that you think, I'm really dying here. I will be dead and I cannot survive this. Logic is out of the window. You cannot hold on to a coherent narrative about what's going on, and that creates a lot of anxiety in a lot of people. It created anxiety in me several times. But with enough experience, the fear ceases. You just close your eyes and okay, let it go. I know the process, being there. I know I'm not going to be annihilated. I would just think that I'm being annihilated. And then you relax into that stream. You don't try to hold on to logic, to narratives, to consistency. You have to let go of all that. Your experiences become spontaneous. It's like you are walking through a forest. You're not creating the trees. You're just watching them go by. And the experience of ego dissolution is watching your personal self go by and then watch what comes afterwards come by. And you're just watching and you're not trying to control it. The control is gone. You can settle into that and it can become even pleasant. I have done this for 2 or 3 years as part of my studies because I thought I can't write a book on consciousness without having done this. It would be scholarly irresponsible, especially because I live in a country where these things are legal. So I could do that with my doctor's assistance, of all things. That's why I did that. And towards the end, what I feared the most was coming back, was
Mm.
having the ego narrative reassert itself, coming back into space, time, personal self. Oh, that I call it the re-entry, and that has become very difficult for me. For most people who are doing it for the first time, ego dissolution is devastating. It's
Mm.
devastating. It's like the worst experience you have ever had in your life. And re-entry is very reassuring. It's like you're recomposing your personal self and you go, oh yeah, yeah, I am this person. I live in this place, and it's the year 2021, and oh yeah, then you feel reassured. With enough experience, that becomes devastating. The re-entry, it's like you are going back to prison, and there is no window on the wall. It's incredibly claustrophobic. It's the realm of suffering. So yeah, everything's relative. Death can be horrible, but the birth can be worse, depending on your point of view.